Good afternoon, everyone. So I wanted to make a video on choosing an article for your guys' assignment because a lot of you guys don't have them approved. So I want to make this video to make it a little bit easier for you guys to choose. So I'm going to share my screen right here. And these are just two, PubMed and ProQuest are just two websites where you can choose and kind of get information from. So I'm going to be talking about some approved articles already and then how to find some. So let's go to Google Scholar. Okay, you'll click on Google Scholar. The best way to find an experimental article. So you want to find an article that has an experiment in it because that's the entire paper that you're writing about, right? You're going to write how they did the experiment. So you can't exactly do that if the article itself doesn't have that. So the best way to even search up anything is saying the effects of blank on blank, right? So, like, we have to find things that affect our brain, right? Biopsychology is like your mental health as well as your entire, um, body and brain working together. So, we want to see the effects of blank on blank. So, if I say, okay, I want to see the effects of, right? Let's say physical activity on symptoms of schizophrenia. Let's just say that automatically I know I'm going to get some experimental studies because I'm saying the effects of physical activity. So somebody is going to say, all right, let's test physical activity for symptoms of schizophrenia. So let's open all of these and then we'll see which ones would work. Okay, so let's see. It's a randomized clinical trial, so already that's good. And then right here it says the study involved 80 patients. So already I know that this is a good study. And it also says results. That means it was an experiment that was done. It says randomized clinical trial. So this one would be approved. Let's look at the other ones. So this says the effects of schizo or physical exercise in schizophrenia and affective disorder. We have the abstract, and that's kind of all it says, unless you look at the full access of it. All right, so we'll skip over that one. We'll go to this one. It says physical exercise for negative symptoms of schizophrenia, a systematic review. Now, this is a perfect example of what does not work. Something that says systematic review of randomized control trials, anything that says systematic review would not be approved. This means that they did not do and conduct research themselves. They just took a whole bunch of research articles that already exist and put it into one. So this is an information article. This would not work because it says systematic review. That's something that you need to look out for. Let's look at the last one. It says the effects of physical exercise to mental state and quality of life in patients with schizophrenia. We have our abstract, and I already know this one's going to be approved because it says the study involved three inpatient and outpatients with schizophrenia who were assigned randomly to aerobic exercise. That means there was some type of experiment done. So that is what to look for, right? Let's kind of look at some approved articles and what to not look for. So this says inflammation, glutamate, and cognition bipolar disorder type 2, right? Inflammation is in your body, bipolar disorder is your psyche, so this would work. Automatically, this would be approved because we have our background, we have our methods, results, and conclusions. So this tells me that there was an experiment done because it says 15 participants, 13 healthy controls. We know this one works. Let's go to our next one. So it says, N-methyl D-aspartate receptor inhibition alters rodent optimal decision, right? So we kind of have to like scroll to see if this one would work. And this one does because it has a methods portion. It has our subjects, right? It has the drug that was used and it gives a little bit more of analysis. And then we have a results portion. So this one would be approved. Okay, let's go on to this one. It says relationships between plasma expressions levels of microRNA 146A and microRNA 132 in epileptic patients and their cognitive, mental, and psychological disorders. All right, so let's see if this one would work. We have an introduction, and automatically this would be approved because we have materials and methods, which tells me they did their own research and experiment. All right, now PTSD, the role of amygdala, and potential therapeutic interventions. If that was it by itself, this would be approved, but it does say a review, which means it is not approved. This is some article that did not do their own research. It just compiled a whole bunch of research together. Then we have articles that look like these, right? It says the gut-brain connection microbes influence on mental health and psychological disorders. Now, this would be something that is very interesting and could be biopsych related. However, it does not do an experiment themselves. It's just an informational article. It's just telling us about the brain gut-brain connection without properly doing research, right? It is research backed, but there's no experiment in it. They're probably using other experiments to kind of back this up. And this is true. Very good article, very good background, but we kind of want more information in terms of like very specific experiments that are being done. So I hope that's helpful, right? Look for things that I just showed. I want this to be a very short video so you guys can get through it. If you need help, please let me know. Email me, set up a meeting with me, and we will find one together. But you do have to find one by the end of this week, by Sunday. If you do not, right, there's going to be a huge issue. So, in getting your like stuff started, and you will start turning in things late because for the rest of the time you need the article to do the rest of your work. So please let me know. Have a good day. Please reach out to me when you need to.